After being made to participate in the Excalbian's trials of morality, we found ourselves in a recreation of ancient Iconia, where the twist from actual events was to have the future version of Taket arrive, despite the fact that Iconians literally cannot time travel without losing themselves. It seems that the Excalbians, mostly Yarnik, are not playing fair, and less trying to find the virtues of good, and more trying to prove that it's weakness. However, these trials have taken on a life of their own, because their simulacrums are so lifelike that the evil spread of the Borg has been replicated perfectly, and now they are adapting to their circumstance and escaping their simulated reality to enter into others. We were transported to the hub of their activity, what was supposed to be another morality test involving the Borg, but it's now been taken over entirely thanks to the urgings of a Control Borg Hybrid 7 of 9. Yes, it's as strange as it sounds. We followed the callings of a Borg queen to find their throne room, but to our surprise we have discovered her bisected on the floor, completely inert. Hopefully the Excalbians have decided to stop throwing waves of enemies at us and instead chosen to gift us some allies. After all, it's not like just because you're good you have to be the underdog. Also, I'm throwing this out there now, there are occasions of flashing images in this game because energy weapons and stuff, but this mission is particularly egregious at one point, so I'm actually going to go out and say, if you have an issue with flashing lights, be warned. I will state when they're approaching again. Back to the story. Borg Queen, dead, floor, what?
That's the Borg Queen.
Incorrect 7, it's about 2/5 of the Borg Queen. It looks like someone came through here and did our job, so why is everything still running?
Indeed. This is damn peculiar. If the Excalbians killed her, where are they now? Be careful. Whatever did this could still be around, and it might not be friendly.
Yeah, I'm getting the sense that this is part of whatever runaway experiment they're running.
Not sure if this is better or worse than what Control had planned.
Pretty sure it's worse, but I'm a little biased.
How timid you are. So frightened of perfection.
Last time I checked, we're not the ones hiding in the dark.
That's a good point.
Here's another. You are obsolete. Older. Weaker. Inferior to me in every way.
Inferior. To you? You're a pathetic copy of me hiding behind a legion of drones. You're weak.
Tell me, why have you come here? There will be no struggle. No resistance.
You're a smart girl. You'll figure it out eventually.
How predictable. How human. We know where that path ends. Futility.
And a new nightmare begins.
Oh goody, we have a Borg with ambition to overthrow the monarchy.
Watch the floor!
This is the flashy battle I was talking about. Skip ahead to this timestamp if you want to avoid. While in this form, using the Queen's body, she makes numerous attacks, both physical and ranged energy blasts, while maintaining all the usual Borg tricks. She can inject nanites that can temporarily wrest control of your character away from you, as well as your squad mates. She is also rendered immune to your weapons fire after a few hits, so you'll have to remodulate them. On top of this, she's using the same plasma floor trick from earlier. After taking enough damage, she puts up an invulnerable shield and retreats.
And now they have a cybernetic dinosaur.
A large assimilated Gorn.
Shooting now, xenobiology later.
Alongside this heavy drone are regular Borg that we'll also have to contend with. This large Gorn beastie has a tail laser added, as well as some micro-explosives that can deploy from wrist rockets. We can attack while its tail is up to hit it from behind, so long as it doesn't adapt we can get in some good hits. When it drops, the Queen resumes her attack.
More automated defenses are coming online.
This Queen 7 has usurped the throne, something that would not be possible for a regular drone, and that rhymes. But this creation was created from the Control AI, as well as Seven's nanites, leading to a unique being. One unbeholden to its hive mind, yet still a part of it. On top of this, while it may have been a simulacrum, Seven's nanites were real, and outside of the control of the Excalbians, leading to this runaway situation.
Why do you struggle? I am Borg. I am eternal. My victory is inevitable.
Her Borg frame is destroyed and she resorts to being carried around the room via her sealing tethers.
How is she still functional?
It's also creepy as shit.
There's so much more to me than I could possibly imagine.
Alongside this, the battle retains the automated turret from earlier that focuses down on a single person before firing. You can dodge it easily enough, but with the floor, the other drones and pools of nanites dragging you around, space is running out. All in all, this nightmarish technological horror is a stubborn foe that takes several phases to down, all the while flailing its snowhack-laden tendrils around. But we prove to be equally as resilient, and eventually the monstrosity falls.
You are small. You lack harmony, cohesion, greatness. It will be your undoing.
Really? Whose ass just got kicked again?
7, you're scary. Both of you.
You are done here at last, my friends.
The familiar voice of the simulacrum Lincoln, signalling the end of yet another trial, even if this one was rather impromptu. Honestly, we need to have words with Yarnik. He's admitted to this simulation not being of his design and allowed it to persist anyway. However, the 7 control thing has fled once more. Lincoln, we got a problem.
I'm glad you're still with us, my friends. I'll ask you to come with me. Yarnik wishes to speak with you, and time is short.
Good. I hope by now he's reached a decision, but I have a feeling I'm not going to like it. We emerge from the portal and arrive back at the mount where we began all this on. Yarnik is of course waiting for us, ready to render his proclamation. So come on, Yarnik, we have triumphed over every trial you've thrown at us. What's your decision?
The evidence in the trial is clear. Adherents of evil will stop at nothing to ensure their victory. Nothing is sacred. No law is absolute. In comparison, the proponents of good are made weak by their morality and other self-imposed limitations. They lack the freedom to achieve their goals at all costs.
Yes, I knew you'd say that, but counterpoint, you need to stop these trials now. You've lost control of them. That 7 control hybrid, well, that beamed away. That didn't just disappear. It's gone somewhere, and it's still out there, and you have no control over it. But you're not going to, are you? No, because all this was not a test or a trial or anything of the sort. It was just your biased way of playing out fictions that line up with your preconceptions. We defeated every trial through teamwork and cooperation, and you reject that for a fictional outcome that completely ignores the virtues that we're apparently supposed to embody.
Those troops are coming from previous trials.
And now there's troops coming from wait, what? The Brea 3 portal opens and out pour Tal Shiar with Iconian heralds. Then the Iconia portal spews forth the Alliance members that took on the Iconians. While Yarnik stands there dumbfounded and confused, good old Abe Lincoln whips out an axe and goes to town on them. He's lost his top hat though.
They're sending in more reinforcements.
Those were Borg drones he just felled. And now we have Nakul. After the temporal forces are driven back, another portal opens, and this time the reanimated controlled crew of the Discovery begin pouring through. Eventually, all the threats are felled and the portals close. I guess the Excalbians have taken back control of them. After a brief scout around and scavenge, we confront Yarnik.
Impossible. Safety measures were in place. The participants should not be able to escape the trial areas or pursue agendas separate from the trials.
So here's the funny thing. You wanted to see what evil was like? Well, guess what? You said it yourself. Evil doesn't care, and it won't stop for anything. It doesn't respect your rules.
The Borg Queen of our creation is amassing greater power. This includes the assimilation of this planet and everything on it.
Duh.
We must consider our alternatives while there is still time.
Well, I'll tell you what. You sit there and consider your alternatives. I'm going to go save you. Because that's what good people would do. Nulia from the Armiger in orbit calls down to let us know something positively wonderful. A Borg octahedron has just suddenly spontaneously spawned into existence above the planet. Such vessels are known for being the processing hubs for Borg queens.
We should take care of that Borg ship while we can.
Agreed. Let's get up there. 7 with me. Commander?
Apparently not. President Lincoln has asked me to assist him with something.
Well, he has been on our side so far.
If I don't see either of you again, it has been an honor.
Well, I don't know what you've got planned, but yes, same to you, Commander.
The Borg Queen is assimilating the Excalbians one by one. If she's not stopped, it's only a matter of time before she learns to use their matter-shaping powers.
She is wasting no time. Things are moving quickly. How long?
Difficult to say. She will learn to replicate well-known patterns first, like Borg ships. It could take her much longer to learn to make entirely new things, or to create things from imagination and memory.
A near-omnipotent Borg. Lovely. You know, the Federation had almost reached a point where the Borg weren't a threat anymore? Ugh. Okay, no point complaining. We're gonna have to be quick about it. As Lincoln predicted, the first things the Queen generates with the Excalbian's powers are familiar Borg scout ships. 3 of them to be exact, and she throws them in our way to stop us beelining straight for her flagship. We make quick work of them, but then she creates 3 more, this time accompanied by a Borg sphere. They're getting more complex. We take out the weaker scouts first and then engage the sphere. At several points we have to retreat to recover our hull badly damaged, because the odds here are not with us and we are outnumbered. But even as we take out the smaller ships, the Queen simulates more to throw at us. With our shields failing and our hull integrity below 40%, we dip into the emergency reserves and get a flickering of shielding back. It's enough to build off and buy us time to get the hull breaches sealed. The thing is, we can't leave the Borg alone for too long because they get to repair and adapt too. After taking out the remaining scouts, however, for now no more spawn in, and this lets us go toe to toe with the sphere, which is a more even encounter. We pull out an old trick of ours and flood the nacelles with dried plasma to hopefully stall the ship in the cloud. It works, and eventually we're able to take down the immobilised sphere. Okay, let's get back on track, except there's another Borg sphere. Oh joy! Get repair teams around the clock, re-establish shielding, and let's go at it again, I guess. We've taken a beating, and our shield grid is dropping quicker than a Precarian taking a swim, yet finally we take down the second Borg sphere.
Never the hero. You know you can't win, and yet you stand ready to die a pointless death.
Your arrogance is impressive. Annoying, but impressive.
Arrogance? Is it arrogance you hear, or a statement of inevitable fact? Perhaps now your opinion has changed. Perhaps now you realize the futility of resistance.
Looks like you could use a hand here. I hope you don't mind, but I brought some friends.
This is Captain Jonathan Archer of the Starship Enterprise.
Prepare to attack. All hands battle stations.
Let's make sure that history never forgets the name Enterprise.
There's an old saying, fortune favors the bold. Well, I guess we're about to find out.
I think it's time to do a little assimilating of our own.
Still think resistance is futile? Your Majesty?
Resistance? You're a tragic collection of relics and fools. The first of many to die.
Torpedoes, maximum yield.
Finally! There you go, the fleet has arrived. Well, a simulated fleet, whatever. So it seems that just as the Queen has learned how to create her own assimilated Borg vessels, Iconium, Krenim, Romulan, the Excalbians have delved into the records of notable Starfleet captains and summoned them into the field of play. Probably Lincoln's doing. Fighting alongside us, we have the original Enterprise NX-01 under Captain Jonathan Archer, notable for establishing many of the things Starfleet now considers essential. Clearly this simulated NX-01 is a bit more durable than the original. We have the USS Discovery, notable for its role in the Klingon War, and Burnham's old ship. The rest of its operations are classified, but its adventures continue. Then we have the Enterprise as it was under the command of Captain Christopher Pike, one of the longest-serving captains on a single vessel and one of Starfleet's most commended, responsible for the discovery of many strange new worlds. Then there's the classic Connie, captained by the legend James T. Kirk.
Fire main phases. Lock phases on target.
Even the alternate universe constitution is in play here, under the command of a very different but no less heroic Kirk. We've seen just how accurate the Excalbians can be with historical recreations, so these ships are likely replete with all their experiences and crews.
With every action you can more knowledge, and with it, power.
Rolling on, we have Captain Picard at the bridge of the Enterprise D. Although the shortest serving of the Enterprises, it was responsible for many first contacts, diplomatic missions, and balancing diplomacy with combat where needed. Then we have its successor, possibly also under the command of Picard, or perhaps Worf, as he took over briefly in 2383. This ship led the vanguard against the Borg incursion of Sector 001. And just beyond, the USS Defiant under Captain Benjamin Sisko, hero of the Dominion War and staple of the Bajoran Federation relations. And of course there is the USS Voyager, the ship with the most mileage of any Starfleet vessel, and home to Captain Catherine Janeway, who has the most first contacts of any captain. And finally, there's the Enterprise F Odyssey class under Captain Vakel Shon, the current flagship of the Federation and responsible in part for the uniting of the Alpha Quadrant into the Alliance and playing a key role in the Iconium War.
Look to read base, arm phases, lock coordinates on the source of the tractor beam.
Power to all weapon systems, standby phasers.
And of course, alongside all these heroic ships, there is you, the player, responsible for numerous victories and holding the Alliance together with your actions, ensuring the adventure continues.
Torpedoes, maximum yield.
With a combined 260 years of firepower, we eventually destroy every Borg ship in orbit, including the Borg Queens.
You have provided us with significant insight into the nature of good. Even with nothing to gain and everything to lose, even when placed in terrible danger by our studies, you chose to come to our aid. You refused to let the forces of evil destroy us, even though we had placed you in mortal peril. You have given us much to consider and to understand. You have shown us that it is not good to subject others to dangers that we are not willing to face ourselves. Let us meet face to face, one last time, and resolve these matters.
Now at least Yannick understands the values of teamwork and cooperation when applying themselves to upholding the principles that prevent greater harm. This is why Yannick's predictions of future events were always so bleak. He literally didn't understand on paper how positive futures could be created. He literally didn't understand the selflessness and code of moral conduct needed for such a future to be created. Before we talk to him, though, we can talk with the Burnham Simulacrum.
Sounds like Yarnek and his people have a lot to think about. I hope they mean it when they say they're going to pursue goodness. As for me, it's strange, being... what did the Borg Queen call it? A simulacrum? A copy. And an incomplete one at that.
Oh, so... okay, you're aware you're a simulacrum. Right. How you holding up? You good?
I'm based on a Starfleet science officer. I was going to figure it out sooner or later. Now that I know, I've decided to continue what was started here today. In my own way.
What do you mean?
I've asked the Excalbians to make my transformation permanent, and they've agreed. So, for the Excalbians, the trials are over, but for me, The human adventure is just beginning.
Well, that's strange. You're the second Discovery crew member I've met recently who's spontaneously come into existence.
If you don't mind, I could use a ride to the nearest Alliance starbase. I'd like to speak with Starfleet Command about reactivating my commission. Among other things.
Of course. And let me just say, you're going to be impressed by the size of the quarters now. No more bunking up with crewmates, you get a whole suite to yourself. Also, not sure reactivating the commission's the correct term, considering... You know what? That can wait. That can be one of the many things I guess you need to talk about. Next up, we check in with Seven. How you doing?
This has certainly been a learning experience for me as well as the Excalbians.
Yeah, I can only imagine.
I saw what I was and what I could have been, which makes me grateful for the life I have now. Still, this experience should make the next session with my counselor interesting.
Ooh, I should probably talk to one of those.
In the meantime, that sensor grid in the trailer system will need some final adjustments. If you can get me back to my runabout, I can finish those. I can also speak to some Fenris Rangers about looking into the Orion smuggling activity in Trailus. Unofficially, of course.
Of course, I will completely pretend that you didn't just suggest getting a vigilante organisation involved in Federation affairs. But yes, we'll give you a ride back to the trailer system. Yo, Abe, found your hat, I see.
It's been quite some time since I had to go into combat. It was an honor to fight by your side.
Thank you for your help, both on the ground and in orbit. So what's next for you then?
The Excalbians have asked me to remain as I am now, and to serve as an ambassador for this planet. These people have a great deal to learn about the universe, and I believe the Alliance can help them with that. And having some experience as a statesman, I might be able to make that process a little smoother for all parties involved.
Huh. Official Excalbian Ambassador Abraham Lincoln.
Should you return here, you will be most welcome. You've done all of us on Excalbia a great service today. One we will never forget. And for that, I thank you. Until we meet again, my friend. Farewell.
Well, I hope to see you out there. So, Yarnik?
The advocates of good return. We have learned much from your efforts in the trials.
I should hope so, and judging by the fact you're not saying kneel before me, you've made up your mind?
We did. After reviewing the events, we have decided to rule in favor of the concept of good.
So, after your deal with rules, you'll be abiding by them this time, I take it?
We will. As we have ruled in favor of good, the people of Excalbia will pursue those virtues from this day forward.
Well, that's good to hear. I'm sure the Alliance will be glad to open dialogue and discussions with you. There's much we can talk about. Help you find your own interpretation. And with that, the measure of morality comes to a close. Evil acts may seem to generate short-term gain, but that is all it is. Short-term, temporary power that is ultimately selfish and therefore unable to build meaningfully to preserve a future. Good, in my opinion, is best served by helping those around you because it establishes ties based on selflessness and aid and compassion. These are things that the Federation tries to keep in mind. Occasionally, yes, it slips and stumbles, and in so doing raises a whole myriad of questions concerning what is the greater good. Is a small amount of evil justifiable if it helps in the larger scheme of things? And this in turn makes notions of good and evil heavily subjective. This is why, although I disagree with Yarnik's methodology, it is important to reflect on your actions and those around you, because ultimately morality is measured by you and the people around you. For Star Trek Online's anniversary event, this was a hell of a fun mission to do, and let's face it, blatant fan service, and I love it.
Well, for now, I'd like to put some distance between myself and Excalbia. Returning to Earth, catching up on what's happened since 2257? Sounds like a good place to start to me. I understand that an old friend of mine is on a similar journey now. I'll get in touch with Commander Stamets soon. I'd love to get his unique perspective on things. There's a lot waiting for me out there. Thank you for helping me get the chance to discover once again.
Ah, you said that because your ship's called the Discovery. So we set a course for the nearest Alliance installation to drop off Burnham and await our next mission. Thanks again for watching the Star Trek Online story series, and we'll be delving back into the main scenarios soon. I've been Rick. Thanks again, and goodbye.